I've been part of this business for over 40 years, and it came to us in probably one of the really lowest times of our life, and it gave us hope. And it's an interesting thing with hope, isn't it? Hope is something that can really lead us to progress. Not being optimistic, but it's the hope that can give us that push to keep going until we progress to where we want to be. And so, with some clear goals, hope is a very good tool to have. And that's what we hope to give you this evening, a way in which you can add to your income, achieve things that you want, have your own little business, whatever it was. I wanted my own business so I didn't have to go to work while I had children. And I've been a stay-at-home mother ever since. I'm a stay-at-home grandmother and working my own business from home. So, it's something we just want to share. But, when you're looking at a business, there are a couple of criteria that are very, very important to evaluate what you're looking at. And what I think is one of the most important things is what service or what product are they relevant? And, what we saw over 40 years ago, the products are still relevant today. When you look at health and I mean, it's a cliche, but it's such an important thing that health is our wealth. And we are a health company. And, you really do understand that health is your wealth when you lose your health. So we focus on that. I think everybody actually cleans their home. Every female at least uses skincare. We've got the lot. We're a full-on health company. And so we have very, very relevant products for this day and age, and have had. And we add to them because we have an incredible scientific advisory board that are just keeping up and often spearheading research into health needs. And then another aspect that I think is really important is the long term. You have companies popping up and disappearing. It's the long term vision of a company. And it has been, Neolife has been going for 65 years. So I think that's long term. And they have in place everything to keep doubling those 65 years and tripling them. The question I had, will I make money? I mean, I was looking at this purely to make money and be a stay-at-home mother as one of my goals. Well, I wouldn't have stuck around for over 40 years if I hadn't made money. It has huge potential, depending on what you want, depending on what you do. But you'll learn all that. What are the risks? There are no risks. And I think that is it's refreshing for this, for business in these days, this day and age, to be risk-free. It really is. And then another question is, what do I have to do? And that's where I think I'm going to hand over to the two gentlemen who are going to talk to you. And the beautiful thing is, it's going to be covered what you have to do and how this business works in the next little while. And these two men come from very, very different backgrounds who found Neolife. And you have to explain exactly what you need to do. But these two men they have used this business concept to create a complete business for themselves individually, different backgrounds, and have succeeded amazingly well and built really successful careers for themselves. So, I'm just very excited to be able to introduce the first speaker tonight, and that is Dr. Barry Bland. He's a specialist anesthetist, and he has a very, very exciting story. I think it's an amazing story, and he has huge belief in what we have to offer. So I just want to welcome Barry onto the call. I'm just going to find his picture here and and um, and mute a few people while I'm going. And sorry about the delay. I'm just muting a few people. There Barry is. And I am going to, I hope you see him as big as I do see him. Thank you, Barry. There you are. Barry Bland, Dr. Barry Bland will take you further into this opportunity. Thank you, Barry, for being on the call. We really appreciate your input always. Thanks.
Thanks, Mela. Appreciate the introduction. And for those people I haven't met before, it's really good to welcome you this evening. Yes, my name is Barry Bland. I'm a doctor. I'm specialized in anesthetics. And I was very skeptical about this whole thing. So if you're looking right now at this, you're saying, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's okay, because I knew nothing about what Rory McDermott was telling us at the time. It sounded amazing. It sounded too good to be true. It sounded not for me. And if that is where you're standing right now, I understand it fully. Very skeptical. The company has 3 ranges of products, basically: the nutritional range, the home care range, and then a personal care range with skincare in there. And I must admit, I could see that the cleaning products worked, but I really wasn't convinced about the nutrition. I was a doctor. I had gone 6 years through university and all the rest of it, and then specialized in anesthetics, and I had heard very little about any of these things in my training, and they were supposed to be related to health. And here I was, the health professional, and knew very little about what was happening here. And it was an amazing thing. My wife, in fact, Pat, joined the business because she liked one of the skincare products and got involved because of that. And as she got more and more enthusiastic, I must admit, it probably got me even less excited. I didn't want to be involved in anything that was kind of not provable and scientific and all those other things that we as doctors are always looking for proof of. And what happened for me was I got hepatitis, my profession, because I stick people with needles. I sometimes stick myself with that needle, and of course you can pick up infections in that way. So I was very unwell, and my wife insisted that I take a whole range of nutritional supplements. Made a difference for me. I could feel that difference. I was still sick. I still had to go through the whole process of my body recovering from the viral infection of my liver. But the process was just so much accelerated and beneficial. So, yes, I was skeptical, but then that changed my mind. I was then able to say, well, actually, there's something here that is working. And I got more and more interested because the company has, as Nola mentioned there briefly, a scientific advisory board. And these are specialists. At the moment, there's a group of 10 people, men and women, who are specialists in their particular areas. And they have a vast knowledge of nutrition, basically. And putting those all together, I was able to get answers to my questions that fitted my understanding, my training of how the body works, the physiology of the body. So that was very supportive. It was very convincing. And over the years, I've just seen not only the science behind it, but also the effects of good nutrition over a prolonged period of time. For myself, I've certainly used the product, and there's one particular product, I will mention it, but it's obviously for new people, this will just not necessarily be that specific, but you can always speak to the person who invited you and have a more in-depth conversation on that. But the carotenoids are pigments that you find in your fruits and vegetables. And I believe that that has made a big difference as far as my skin cancer is concerned. Now, I am predisposed to skin cancer, probably genetically through my father. Both my brother and myself have suffered in that way, and the carotenoids have just made a difference. They haven't stopped them, but they've delayed them. And if I live long enough, I won't have them at all. So, you know, it really has made a long-term difference to my good health. And I use a lot of the products because I really do believe they make a difference for my brain, for my eyes, for my heart, for my whole cardiovascular system, my lungs, bowel, all of those things just make a long-term difference. So I think, please understand, you'll hear more about the business aspect of it, but we have an incredibly efficient, effective range of products. I've been talking about the nutrition, but the home care, they're all non-toxic, non-caustic, biodegradable, way, way, way long before it became fashionable for things to be biodegradable. And so the company has been at the forefront of those sorts of things. And then, of course, the skincare range as well. I think one of the big things that helped me to understand better was the fact that the company has that scientific advisory board. And the philosophy of the company is that it will be based in nature, but backed by science. And it's important to have that scientific background, scientific backup. And the scientific advisory board does just that. And they have world firsts over the period of time that the company has been operating, over 65 years, that the world firsts that they have come out with are amazing, and they are well documented. So I think it's important to understand that we really are a nutritional company that is at the forefront of research and development. And with that basic philosophy of based in nature and backed by science, our products are all food-based. There is no artificial flavors, colorants, any of those things in there, and they are all extracted from a food source. And that's vitally important. So on a personal basis, within the use of all of these products, my wife started in the business and grew it to the point where it needed my time. And so I was able to give up full-time anesthetics and go into this full-time. And that has been a major benefit. We have 3 daughters and 8 grandkids. And the benefits that they've had not only financially, which you'll hear a bit more about later, but also from the health aspects of it. You know, it really is important to make sure that you are well for as long as you can. I always say, I want to be well when I die. You know, most people, let's face it, think about, oh, well, when I die, I'm going to be sick. Well, it's possible to be well and die. And that's obviously where I would like to be, and I would like my family to be, and all of that aspect. So the benefits, certainly personally, both on health aspects, but also on financial situation, being able to send the kids to university, being able to support grandkids, you know, that sort of thing is important. And of course, throughout your life, you have different needs. And obviously now, as we're getting older, you start looking at the further process. But it's important to use the product first. And then, very simply, you can talk about things. I always joke in a way, but not really. I did anesthetics because I didn't like speaking to people. It was easier to keep them quiet. But, you know, if you use something and it's of benefit to you, you talk about it. And it's easy to talk about when you are using something that you know makes a difference for you, and you can see that other people would benefit from it. So that is a real benefit of having a range of products that you can be totally confident of recommending to others, totally confident about using it yourself, but totally confident about recommending it to others, because it will be beneficial to them. In some ways, almost immaterial of what you decide to use. It will be of benefit. It's interesting. And I truly believe that. So as far as if I can get my conviction across to you that we have a range of excellent products that are effective, there is a business system in behind that, which you will hear about now, that supports that allows you to then actually make a difference for yourself and for others around you. So the person who invited me into the business, kicking and screaming, let me say, I was not really interested initially. And I thank him and his wife, Nala, for doing that for us, giving us the opportunity that we've had that have really been life-changing in a whole range of different things. Mr. Rory McDermott. And Rory, yeah, over to you.
Barry, thank you so much. Thank you, Barry. Thanks indeed. So, you know, it's always so good. Well, firstly, before we start, Barry, I want to thank you for your virtually 40 years now that you've been associated with the company and with us, and the major contribution you've made all the way through your career. And it's one of the most exciting things to have, to be able to link with someone in the business and to see such a life-transforming change take place. You know, the day that I met with Barry, this was about 4 years after Pat and Barry started, and Barry sat down and said to me, and he said he was planning to go full-time. I nearly fell off my chair because, you know, when does a doctor give up a profession such as Barry had to do something like this? But that decision, Barry, I'd like to just ask you one question before I move on. The question is this: would you consider that your decision to join Neolife was a good investment? Could you just give me a brief answer on that?
Rory, it was a totally good investment. I mean, at the time, we had recently immigrated from Zimbabwe, and Rory came along and asked me for 25 Rand to join the business. Now, this was, as he was saying, nearly 40 years ago. And I mean, that was just, I struggled with that. Even as a doctor, I had 3 young kids, and we had recently come across the border with 1,000 Zim dollars, and we were starting again. And here he was asking for some money from me, and it was difficult. And that was the best investment we ever made, ever. It changed our whole direction. And way back, the benefits of it were, here was a situation where we could have hope. Nola mentioned it earlier, hope of actually being able to earn more than what I was going to be earning working in the hospital. That it was okay, but here was an opportunity to earn more. And where Pat was wanting to get involved and start doing something as well. So, it's amazing what hope does for you. It just opens up all sorts of vistas that can change. And the big thing that what this business did for us was to enable us to purchase a house and to be able to continually pay the bond on that house back then. So that was as it grew. Over time, of course, you see the benefits in your kids, because you can get them to their schools, their activities, all those things. And the interesting thing, once I went full-time, was the fact that I had the time to go to school, sports, plays, those sorts of things, and support the kids in that way. And of course, that's still happening, only with the next generation, which is, it's the financial aspect of it, but also you're working for yourself. You're not dictated to by others who decide what you're going to do. And of course, as you get older and move towards retirement, here is a whole new thing. No one can tell me to retire.
Exactly.
And I don't want to retire. Is there a reason to retire? It's good to be able to have something to do when you wake up in the morning. And our financial advisor, I was speaking to him just a couple of weeks ago, and he said, one of the big things that has changed your whole profile is your Neolife business. And that's, I can understand that, because it just continues as a residual income to provide. And the other aspect of it is the legacy that you can have from this business. I'm an anesthetist. My anesthetics is in my head and in my hands. I can't pass that on. I can pass on this business. And I don't know if it's going to be one of my daughters or one of my grandkids. Or if I live long enough, maybe one of my great-grandkids. Who knows? who could take over the business. That legacy is incalculable as to its benefits. So, Rory, was it a good investment? Absolutely.
Most probably the best ever, Barry. Barry, thank you so much for that. And what I loved was the point of that legacy. Very seldom. In fact, I think that is basically unique to Neolife in many ways, because so many of our businesses have now been handed down to the third generation. So, the good you did many years ago is transferred on generation to generation. But Barry, thank you so much for your in-depth coverage of it. And it's, as I said, been an absolute privilege working with you. And we've had so much fun in a way. Good heavens. We've had some wonderful times, and that's part and parcel of success. Thank you, Barry. Thanks for your input there. But basically what Barry was, we're living in a different world today, and you can no longer take anything for granted. In the past years, you had so much stability, which I am afraid has disappeared. So it's very hard to find an investment today, while we're talking about investments, investments that are performing. And in fact, some of them are even risky. Job stability, for instance, is very questionable today. I saw something the other day which just blew my mind. I saw a ping pong professional playing against the robot, and you know what? The robot won. And I thought to myself, good heavens, if these things have been developed to this point, they're going to meet many jobs in the future with this new system, just taking over things and taking over employment. So you cannot take anything for granted. And, a survey that we've just read too recently shows that a middle-class family in South Africa today needs to replace their monthly income by a minimum of 9,000 Rand just to keep ahead of inflation. And so, those are the times we're living in. And so it's basically, we all are in financial trouble. And the question is, what is your plan B? What are you putting in place to just secure your financial future for your family? And I truly believe that Neolife, I've looked around, and we've tried various investments, and not so good long term. But the Neolife is like this perennial investment that comes in all the time, consistently, and it's so good. And so I believe it's as good as it gets. Just a bit of my background: 49 years ago, I stumbled across Neolife purely by accident. At a and Nola touched on, it's a very difficult time of our lives, because we'd been in the corporate world and we just launched off to start our own personal business. And so we were in a very tight financial situation. And one of the customers I met along the way, called Horace, said to me, "Rory, you look ambitious. Do you want to make some extra money?" And I thought, well, what a question. Of course, we were desperate for extra money at that time. So we joined on the 8th of July, 1974. So we've been in this nearly 50 years. And that, to me, says that the business has stood the test of time, and it has never been in as good a shape as it is now. It has never been as shareable, it's never been as simple, and it's never been as needed as it is today. So, in those days, the concept of network marketing was in its infancy. It wasn't known. There was no examples of success around, but we just took hold of what they told us. We believed it. We jumped in boots and all. And I look back and say, well, thank the Lord we did, because that was the best decision we ever took. And it has made a huge difference to us and our family and future generations. So today, everything we have achieved or accomplished has come purely out of this Neolife opportunity. So I believe it's the finest investment you can ever make. Barry said he put in 25 Rand to start. I can see his income every month, and the return he's got on that investment. Show me something better. I challenge you to do that. So what is networking all about? The concept of networking is this: networking allows you to work smarter. You've got to work hard. Obviously, anything of value takes time and effort. There's no anything of value is a challenge. So you've got to work hard, but you can work smart. And by working smart, it allows you to duplicate time and effort through other people. And that's what the difference is, okay? And a little formula for success that you might want to just jot down if you're taking note is the formula for success is this. Over time, you develop a large group of people who do a few simple tasks on a consistent basis, a few little habits or tasks on a consistent basis. And this is over a sustained period of time. It's as simple as that. And the beautiful thing about networking in this day and age is this: you can do it part-time. So I'm not asking you to give up anything at this stage. Just allocate about 8 to 10 hours per week, part-time. And there's no risk attached because you don't have to employ staff. You don't have to have huge inventories. You don't have to do advertising. You work from home on a part-time, flexi-time basis. So any household can just ease into the network marketing world and make a success of it. Okay, now here how it works. I'm going to just let's see if we can see this board a little bit here. I'm going to just illustrate a few things here. It starts off with, can you see this? I think you can, right. It starts off with you. So I'm going to put you in the circle. Now, the first thing you do is make up your mind that you want to succeed. And I'm going to suggest that you become the managing director of your own business. In other words, take charge of your own future. Do not leave your life and success in the hands of someone else, a boss or anyone for that matter. So you make that decision that you want to take charge of your future. Okay. And what I'm going to suggest you do is link to the company called Neolife. And Barry has given you some background on Neolife and the stability of it. But Neolife operates today in 50 countries. It provides you with a business platform that you plug into. You do not work for Neolife. Neolife is your business partner or your support structure, and you use their business system and their plans. Neolife, in fact, carries the risk. They've got the science, they've got the product development, they've got the huge computer and staff management system all in place, and it is in place for you around 50 countries around the world. To get started, there's an investment today. It is as little as 830 Rand today, but you get product to cover that. But I'm going to be talking about what I call a kit, which is what we call a Tree NN six-pack kit. Now, what is Tree NN? Just briefly. Tree NN is our lead product. It consists of 3 essential oils that you take Tree NN each day, and it provides the correct oils to keep your cells healthy. And each and every one of us are made of trillions of cells. Your cells are either healthy, or they're tired, or they're sick. So a healthy cell allows transfer of nutrition in and waste out. And those oils make the cell wall permeable so you can be healthy. So Tree NN is a need necessity product every single human being in this world today. Because of the food processing that takes place, we need Tree NN to keep our cells healthy. So I'm going to talk about this one kit. It's called a 6-pack, and the current investment of that is 1,880 Rand. So that's the investment, but you get 6 bottles of Tree NN, and you immediately can use one and then sell the other 5, and you've made yourself 400 plus Rands with a profit. So that's the starting point. Link to Neolife. So the first habit I want to talk about is, number 1, is to use the product. As Barry said, you use it, you experience it, and you have benefits from it. So using the product, and you can change your buying habits, because every single household has an economy which you spend in retail stores. What I'm suggesting is stop spending there and redirect that economy to Neolife. Your laundry powders, your dishwashing liquids, your hair shampoos, your skincare products, your nutritional products. Instead of buying them and outsourcing them elsewhere, just go online on your phone. You get an app. You can place an order and they'll deliver it right to your front door within 48 hours. So it's a very neat system. And not only do you get the best quality product, but you get it at a wholesale price of 25% discount on everything you use. So it's a smart move. Just by changing your buying habits, getting better quality product at a discount or wholesale price. Now, the illustration I'm going to use tonight, I'm talking about the one product, but you could use all of the products or whatever you choose, but I'm just going to illustrate on one. A 6-pack of Tree and N is worth 102 PV. What is PV? Because we operate in 50 countries, we need to have a point value for each product so we can measure progress. Simple as that. So your 6 bottles of Tree and N is 102 PV. And that is important because 102 PV switches on the computer for you, and your ID number that is part and parcel. When you get your kit, by the way, you get an ID number. You also get a very, very comprehensive website for yourself, personal website. You get literature, and you get all the sales and support that you need to make the business work. You get the tutoring to make it work. So here you are in business. You've got yourself a 6-pack kit. You've got 102 points. Your ID number is activated, and you're in business. So you use the products because that equals a story. Once you're using the products and you've got your story, the next step is very simple. Talk to people, TTP, talk to people and tell them your story. And that will result in some customers for you, okay? Now, I'm going to give an illustration. That's just, and I'm going to give you the third one, and we'll come back to it. The third habit is personal development. In other words, get into the business, go pro, get to grips with it, study the product, study the marketing plan, grow and develop as a person, because you know we each have a brand, and if you're professional and you know what you're talking about, your brand is attractive to other people. So the 3 habits are: 1, use the products and get a story. The second is talk to people, and that will equal customers and distributors. And the third one is grow your brand and develop as a person. So bear those in mind. So how does it work from there? I'm just going to illustrate this as simply as I can. Let's suppose you are here and you've done your 102 points. You talk to people, and the goal here is to duplicate time and duplicate effort through other people. And over time, now this might take you a week, it might take you a month, it might take you 6 months. I don't know how long this is going to take you. You are the managing director. You decide that. I'm going to suggest over the next period of time, you go out and you find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who are just like you, who are sick and tired of mediocrity. They're wanting to stabilize their financial future, maybe because pension is looming and they're not going to make ends meet. Maybe it's to send a kid to a private school. Maybe it's to send a grandchild on a trip, whatever it is, to get 6 people together, okay? And what do? Exactly the same as you. They put in their 8 to 10 hours per week. They get themselves a kit, and they generate their 102 points just like you. I'm going to just tick each of those boxes, same thing. So all of a sudden, you've got your 102 because each month you sell your 102 points. That's your obligation. You can do it every day, you can do it every week, but I'm using the minimums here. Each month, do 102 points, and that's 6 products. Use 1 and sell the 5. Now that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in your team, that puts you over 700 points. PV, we measure in PV. And your income is generated through PV. So if you don't generate PV, you don't generate income. That's the bottom line. So you've now got 700 points. That's the first illustration. You get a small bonus back, $20, 400 Rand, somewhere in that vicinity, okay? The next illustration is quite simple. What if each of these people here did the same as you? They built themselves 700-point businesses. How do they do it? They find 6 people, just the same as you've done. So each one is 700, 700, 700. What that would do for you is you would now move from 700 to 4,000 PV per month. Now, I don't know how long this is going to take. Let's say it takes you a year. So what? We had someone who did it in 2.5 months recently. That's about the shortest time I've had. So what happens is you now have got these people who are all doing their 700 points, okay? And you've got a 4,000 point business. That would lead you to being what we call a director. I'm not going to go into what your bonus is. I'll give you an idea. For instance, if you were in South Africa, your bonus would be anywhere from 10 to 15,000 Rand per month at that level. And for Kenya, Botswana, I know we've got people from all over the show on this call tonight, it would be 500 to 700 US dollars extra per month. Now, let's just stop there for a moment. You've built yourself a business doing 4,000 points. You're earning 500 to 700 dollars extra per month. That's 10 to 15,000 Rand, depending where, you know, how it's structured. That immediately starts changing the nature of your business and your life. I know certain families who go out there and work 8-10 hours a day and they don't bring that sort of money home full time. And here what we're saying, this is possible part-time. And this is exactly what happened to Barry. This is exactly what happened to me. And at that stage, I'll never forget in my instance, I started making money out of this business more than I was making out of my full-time job. Eventually, my accountant looked at me and said, Rory, you're making more money by accident than you're making on purpose. So that's how we merged full-time into the business. But I know there's some people on this call tonight who are going to say, well, okay, $500-700, big deal. Let me give you a big picture. What if, and I just want to illustrate this, what if you were doing 4,000 to 5,000 points, because obviously it grows, every month it grows. And what if you developed 1, 2, 3 people who are doing 5,000 just like you? Okay, that's a 20,000 point business. Now we're talking. In this instance, I know in South Africa, it could be 30, 40,000 Rand per month. Put that into dollars, okay? What would happen if in time, 6 of these guys did it? You'd move to what we call our president's team level. And traditionally with that structure, with 6 fully qualified directors, these guys start developing their own fully qualified directors. Traditionally, you're doing about 100,000 points per month at that level. Your income will be well in excess of 100,000 Rand in South Africa, which is 5 to 10,000 US dollars, somewhere in that vicinity. Okay, my conversion might not be quite accurate, but it's in that vicinity. Okay, so that's good. Now, the exciting part about this to me is there is a trend developing in Africa, particularly, where we have young people who are studying matric or going into universities, studying for degrees and certificates and various other things. And these people, the challenge in Africa is they come out of school or varsity with a degree, but unfortunately there are no jobs for them. Now, this trend that is developing in Africa today is this. We've got youngsters coming into the business in university and building a business. Now, we just got a youngster who's gone out and built 10 fully qualified directors in his team. That means he's doing over 250,000 points a month. He's earning about 10 to 15,000 US dollars a month. And the exciting thing is he's just turned 24. You know, what an opportunity. So the bigger you think, the harder you work, the greater the reward. And that's basically what our business is, you know. It's a very simple concept. And the exciting thing, it's happening all around the world in many, many places. And, you know, something I want to say is this. Success is not genetic. Success is available to anyone who believes that they're worthy of it. That's the bottom line. So I don't care about your age, your education, your background. That's got nothing to do with it. If you believe, you will achieve. If you want it badly enough, it will be possible for you. And the exciting thing is Neolife is available. It's the finest opportunity. I know everything we've created and achieved in our lifetime has been done through this business. So don't tell me it doesn't work. It has worked for us. Okay. Question is, can you do it? couple of qualities we look for. The first quality is we look for people who have got the will to change, a desire for a better life. You've got to tick the box there. Either you are looking or you're not looking. I can only help you if you're looking. If you've got a desire to make some money, the second thing is, how are you going to do it? You need to find a source, a vehicle that can get you from where you are to where you want to be. I don't know of anything that matches Neolife. We've spoken about that all night. It's a great opportunity. It's the best investment I've ever made, and many, many others like me. Okay. The third thing you need to have is the courage to take action on the opportunities that are presented in your life. And that's when we get the parting of the ways of the two people. The rich get rich. Why? Because they have the courage and the guts to try something new. They step out of their comfort zone, they put themselves on the line, and they give it a go. Whereas people who haven't got that courage, they look at something and they procrastinate. They make excuses for themselves to stay poor. Some excuses are like, I don't have any spare time. Shame. Duplicate your time. Oh, I'm not a salesperson. Do you think Barry Bland and I were salespeople? Not in the beginning. Okay. So you don't have to be a hotshot salesperson. Sometimes they say, well, I'll speak to my wife, and the wife doesn't know anything about this business. And that's something I must point out. We nearly lost this opportunity because the first person we spoke to said we were mad and that we'd never make any money and that the company was a ripoff. And you know, we damn nearly listened to that person. I shudder to think, where would we be today if we'd listened to the idiot who knew nothing about the business but could criticize it? Okay. So don't allow loved ones or family or friends to put you off your purpose. They do not pay your bills. Have the courage to make a decision and stand by it. That's what we call strength of character. We look for that in successful people. Okay. So if you've got the desire, we've shown you the way. The third thing is to take the action. And what I encourage you to do is turn or get back tonight to the person who introduced you to the program, who thought highly enough of you, and say to him, John, tell me more. Get your questions answered. And he'll give you a website number. And that website number will be direct to his website. And that will give you an application form like that, which you complete online if you want to, or you can do it manually with your sponsor. It will give you the opportunity of selecting a kit. There are about 5 different kits to choose from. I would suggest you go for that Tree and End 6-pack with the 1,880 Rand investment. And I can tell you one thing, that will be the finest investment you will ever make. That investment will take you to the future and give your family hope for a better tomorrow. And not only your family, you know, when you're making money, you can be more generous to others and uplift other people in your families and communities as well. So I look at Neolife as a gift. It's a gift that we bumped into. It's a gift from God that we took hold of and we used. And we give thanks for that gift because it's changed our lives. And we've had the privilege of imparting what we've got with other people. And it's changed many, many other people's lives as well. So I want you to seriously consider your decision tonight. Get back to the person who invited you onto this call. Make a decision. If it's not for you, fantastic. We understand that. Become a customer at least. But if it is for you, have the courage to get out of your comfort zone and try something new. So from us, good night. I hope it's been of benefit to you. Thank you.